Hello, it's Martin from Control Bits. Today I really want to focus on the manual and the tools you'll need to get your kit started. In the front of most manuals you'll see there's a list of items required. This is the one for the SCX10. Shows wire cutters, scissors, pliers and a knife. You see laid out here are the bits that I tend to keep. The same pliers, some wire cutters, scissors, some Allen wrenches and the relevant screwdrivers. A little craft knife. And in the Tamiya manual, just to show you a different one, this is for the CR-01 crawler. This is the Tamiya one. Always looks a little bit more complicated because of all the different languages that it's translated into. There you'll see they also show the paints that they would recommend for this, which Axial don't do. It also shows the electronics, the other bits of kit that you'll need. So as we said in video 1, you will need batteries for a transmitter, the receiver, the speed controller which we showed, and a servo, and obviously the battery to run it on, be it metal hydride or a LiPo. In addition to this, two other things that I find very useful in building. One is a small file to take the edges off the parts as they come off the trees, the plastic trees, and also some cocktail sticks. You'll find that putting the thread lock sometimes can be very difficult into small areas, so that's quite handy to do. Okay, let's clear these away and show you the manual. As I said earlier, two manuals to just show you today. One for the SCX10, which is the Honcho, which is the actual build that we're doing, and then also a manual that came with a Tamiya CR-01 rock crawler kit as well, just to show how different companies approach their manual and how the build may feel. So if we start with the Axial one, which is what we're going to do, as said earlier, it shows the other bits of tools and equipment that you'll need to complete your kit. And then in the Axial manual, each of the items that are supplied are individually numbered, how many should be there, and their part number. So if you ever break anything or there's an item that's missing in that rare occasion, you can at least find the part number and often then find a supplier. So there's a couple of pages of those. There are the parts trees that have got all the relevant plastic parts on. Okay, and then the first section you'll see starts with this is open bag A, and this is to build the axles, and everything that's then in bag A, the individual items are marked here, again with their part number, their relevant name, and how many of those items you'll need for each section. So I would always recommend get this list of parts out, lay them out as it shows you in each section, and then approach your build. That way you'll know you'll be doing it correct, you'll get the orientation of parts around the right way. And take note, there's often some warnings. This is about putting the gear and making sure that the mesh is correct. And with Axial manuals they also show optional parts. So to uprate to a heavy duty bevel gear set, there's the part number, and it also shows you the optional Scorpion universal joint. So I think that's quite handy. So just in contrast, let's look at the one for the CR-01, the Tamiya kit. I'll turn to the pages that show the axles because that's fairly similar. But again, you can see A is the relevant bag that we're going to use. It's got all the relevant parts in. And again, part number, how many you need to use, and then a bit of description, the size of the screws, one thing and another. In the Tamiya manual there are some extra bits in the margin notes of how to apply the thread lock. So there is some extra detail that you won't see in the Axial manual. You'll see here that there is a note for grease and where to apply. The shaded section is the only section that you then need to grease, and likewise again on this beveled gear here. Tamiya choose to put all their individual part numbers in the back. So if you remember, we looked at the Axial manual and these part trees were in the front. Although on the face of it Tamiya manuals look slightly more complicated, you will find that there is some extra detail that is sometimes not in the Axial manual. For example, if we turn to the part that shows painting the body for the CR-01 kit, it shows you about cutting the body out and shows you about washing it. So it does give you some extra information about prepping and spraying the body. If I show the Axial manual differs. Here you can see in the Tamiya manual the extra details. even masking and removing masking, whereas on the Axial manual just shows the window masking in its locations and shows spraying from the inside, and that's as much painting detail. Do look at our how to paint a Lexan body video. That'll give you a few more tips and a bit of an insight. Before we go too much further, just want to go into some detail about referencing the plastic parts. If you look in the manual for this part, you'll see there's two numbers, one long number and a number in a black box. The main number, the long number, references the part tree. So if I just show you this, I'm not sure whether you'll be able to see. Here, that number, AX8003, is that number there. And the little number in the box then references the actual item on that tree. So if we go back and have a look at this, you can see there's the main number. Then just above that, you'll see there's the 3. So this part is that part. This is quite a good stage just to give you some tips on removing the parts from the parts trees. What I tend to do is use a set of wire cutters, and then where they're joined, just snip them off at that point. Don't know if you can see that. Just go in at that edge and just snip it through. And sometimes you'll see there'll be a little bit of swarf left on the edge. You can just file that away, or one of the easy tasks, you just use the craft knife and then just take that edge off. Okay, just to sum up, do spend your time reading the manual, go through, plan your build, look at the first bag, in this case bag A, and that will run right the way through until step 9 when the axles are built. Well, good luck with your build. Thank you for watching this video. Please do subscribe to keep track of the build of the Honcho, and feel free to comment or ask any questions that you have.